I have superannuated. I'm in a senior faculty, so obviously we have a little bit feeling of giving the youngsters like you some kind of advice regarding our experiences. And so this is not a sermon. It's just a way of analyzing how we teach and how we interact with the students. Do we challenge them too much, or do we challenge them too less? Are they really finding it really enjoyable to be part of the teaching journey that we give them? So let's see how it is. So this is a graph that shows the challenge versus the skill, and our productivity and flow channel is related. Now I'll tell you what is this flow channel. Now these two lines in the diagonal is what we identify as the flow channel. Now let's see how do we define this flow channel and what is the effect of this flow channel in our productivity, or in the enjoyment that we provide to the students. So I'm going to use cricket as an example because I love that game. You can take your own games that you are interested in, or a kind of a hobby that you are doing, or it could be even cooking, where you have been trained for cooking by an instructor. So these are very complementary, and the way that I am going to explain, you can relate to those activities very easily. So if suppose I want to learn cricket, so I start here where my skills are very low and I hardly see any challenge. So I've just come to learn the cricket. So now the coach who is teaching me cricket starts giving me a small challenges or ask me to practice. So this is how I start practicing, the way I hold the bat, how I move the bat, and all those kind of things, the foot, and I wear the gear and try to do it, what they call as the shadow batting. And I go on doing it completely, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, almost a week, and then I start feeling bored. What is this? I'm just doing shadow practice and nothing is happening, and I start feeling bored. Now, if the coach continues to do the same thing in the next week, probably I may drop out of learning cricket out of boredom. However, if the coach realizes that I am getting bored and that he needs to be pepped up, what the coach will do is give me a challenge. Maybe throw down a ball and ask me to hit with the same kind of style. Then I realize, oh, my shadow practice is not sufficient. So I need to practice a little more. And then I start to learn better skills. And then probably I will hit the ball properly. But on the other hand, on the day one itself, that's at level one itself, if the coach asks me to go and stand on the crease, on the ground, and then asked a bowler to put a ball, and that bowler put a bouncer just to tease me, and the ball just passes across my neck, I get a fright of my life. Probably that would be the end of my cricket. I will never play cricket. So there would be few of us, however, who would still take it as a real challenge. I said, no, let me see how to play these kind of balls. Why should I get frightened? And then I would learn little better skills of hitting that ball, probably a hook shot or a pull shot. And then I will come to level 3 where I start enjoying the game. So basically, when you fall into that boredom or when you fall into the anxiety zone, you just need to improve your skills to meet the challenge. So this is what a teacher have to understand, that where the student is going, is he in the boredom zone, or is he feeling anxiety because the challenge that you have given is too much, or he is gone bored because the challenge that you have given is too less. So you have to always pep up the students by giving small challenges which is equivalent to the skills. Don't give them challenges which is beyond their skills, and bring them back to the diagonal that I call as the flow channel. So now again the coach starts giving me a little bit challenge, asking me a bowler to bowl to me, maybe in the crease itself, and then I start to learn better shots. I start to learn new shots, and as I start learning new shots, he changes the bowler, So I get a new bowler, maybe a leg spinner, maybe a left arm bowler or a right arm bowler, maybe an off spinner. So I start getting new skills and I come back to the flow channel, and so I continue to remain in the flow channel. So every time I find that I my skills are matching the challenge, the coach gives me a little higher challenge and forces me to learn more skills, and then I go ahead and I remain in the channel. So it is in the channel flow that you maximize your productivity. So we need to understand that how to bring back the students to the channel, and we should be very clear to understand when are they falling out of the channel, because it is in the flow channel that we will have maximum enjoyment of what we are doing. We will be completely engrossed in what we are doing, and our productivity would be the highest. So, and your students will continue to be with you. What you must have seen in that graph was that every time the challenge was higher than the skill sets that you have, we used to go into the zone of anxiety. And when the challenges are much less and our skill set are more than enough to face them and overcome them, we used to feel bored, and we used to be the student will go into the zone of boredom. And that's where I said the coach, as I gave in the example, would give me a little higher challenge so that I come up back into the channel or the flow channel. Now this concept of flow channel was provided by Professor Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, a psychologist from University of Chicago. And what he said is that enjoyment appears at the boundary between boredom and anxiety, and this boundary is defined uh, the zone where challenges are just balanced with the person's capacity to act or the person's skill sets. So when we face challenges and if we can overcome that with the skill sets that we have, we feel a sense of satisfaction. We enjoy doing that. And every time the challenges are too much, we become anxious, and the challenges are too less and we have enough skill set, we feel bored. Arey, why to increase the skill set? ठीक है ना, सब चलता है. So we should not fall into the chalta hai attitude, and we should go on improving our skill sets. That's how we grow. And if we have to grow and if we have to be productive in our actions and our inputs that we give to teaching or as a student put to education, we have to be continuously be in the flow channel, and it's a teacher's responsibility to see that the student remains in the flow channel. On the other hand, if you just try to take a back the same graph where we have understood the flow channel and we have compared the skill sets with the challenge, now what is the level of challenge that you have to give it to the student? I mean, how do I identify that? Now let's divide this particular entire quadrant into several sectors, and each of the sector would be the response that we give. So the anxiety zone is now divided into worry, anxiety, and arousal. So that arousal means you are just coming out of the anxiety zone and you are now inclined to learn little more. Whereas the boredom has now been divided into apathy, where you completely lose interest in that activity. Relax, you feel chalta hai, everything I have, so why learn more? And then control, you feel a sense of control. Oh, now things are okay and I can do it. That's a fair enough area. And arousal is also an acceptable area where the student can be. So now if you check our students, you find that they fall into this pink area, pink zone. That's they are neither very low in skills, but they are neither very high in skills. So we need to deal with them very, very specifically. And what do you do? So what kind of challenges you need to give them so that they remain in the flow channel? So if you challenge them very high, they would go into the zone of anxiety, or they will become worried and they won't get aroused. Okay, so even if they have to get aroused, it's a small sector that you can see within the challenge. So the chances are that only a few of them with a comparatively high skill set would be the ones who would feel like, no, 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 let me try, let me improve my skill set and try to face the challenge. So there would be only a small percentage of students in your class who would do that. On the other hand, if you give a challenge which is low, like you give a question paper which is always very easy, and they go on getting such kind of papers in their exams, they will feel, ठीक है यार, I have enough skill sets to face the challenges, so ठीक है, why should I learn more? So I'm always in control. So I mean, that's okay. So then I become little relaxed, I get bored. So okay, I need to only learn so much. So the right way of doing it be to give a correct level of challenge. Now that's a very tricky thing. And please remember that challenge area is this purple colored zone, which is a very small area. And a teacher has to really put a lot of efforts and skills to really bring in the right mode of challenge to the students. And that's why you find that in your class many of the students don't really get excited with what you are doing in the class. So you need to reprogram your approach to the class, give the right kind of questions, right kind of challenges, make those questions more analytical, but not too much that most of the students are not able to answer, but a good percentage would be able to take up the challenge. So try to prepare your lessons, try to prepare your evaluation sheets, try to prepare your assessment plans that would fall in the purple zone. So that's how you try to keep the students in the flow channel. And as how Professor Mihail was saying, that they will always feel happy and they will enjoy doing what they are doing, because they will find that they are at that zone where their skill sets are just about matching the challenges they face in their real world. Now, please remember, this is the same thing that you can apply to all kinds of activities that you do in your life, be it business, be it stock market, everywhere. If you remain in the flow channel, you will enjoy what they are doing and not fall into anxiety and not fall into boredom, that you don't give too much importance to what you're doing. Now, a little another aspect of the flow theory, I will try to put it in the mobile usage. Mobile is something that you always use and you feel happy about using it. That's because most of the apps that we use in the mobiles are designed to keep you in the flow channel. It's a very different application of the flow theory, so that you get always engaged in what you're doing, you are satisfied with what you have done, and then you continue to retain the app and continue to use the app day after, and months after, and on years long you continue to be part of that app. So you get completely absorbed in what you're doing, so much so that you lose track of your time, and you feel that you have a sense of control on that device and on that app. This is how the apps are designed, with absolute consideration given to how to keep the user in the flow channel. The apps are designed so that the user always balances the challenge and the skill. There are clear goals given to you, and then they see that there is an immediate feedback of how much goal have you reached and what you can do to reach the complete goal. You are always focused and concentrated with minimal distraction coming in your way. So you always feel a sense of control, and there is a perceived enjoyment of being part of using that app. See how cleverly they do it. And what happens to all these kind of designing is that it increases your engagement with the app, it improves the retention of use of the app, and then you feel overtly satisfied, and that you fall into the addiction zone and you start neglecting other responsibilities, and it forms a habit, so much so that the app becomes part of your daily routine. This is something which is bad. Now here is a negative side of how flow theory makes us do something which would change your lifestyle, would change your attentions, you change your interest in the daily routine that you otherwise do. So then what do you do in such cases? You need to come out of the flow channel in a very different perspective. Come out of the flow channel. Where in the initial code I said put everybody in the flow channel. Now here is you how do you come out of the flow channel? And you come out of the flow channel by to reduce the mobile obsession, for example. So how do you do that? So there are two ways of doing it. One is you bring in behavioral changes, and the other is you bring in environmental changes. So let's look at the behavioral changes so that you become more mindful about the usage of the mobile. So you don't immediately impulsively go and check the mobile. Moment you get a notification, the mobile rings. So you are mindful, oh, I'm going to touch that device and I know what I'm going to do. So you are becoming very mindful. You can also make zone free, like you don't take the mobile into the kitchen, or you don't take the mobile into your reading room, or you can decide that okay, this is the only time on the day that I will check notification, I will check my social media accounts for whatever responses that I have received. The other way is that I replace my mobile time with other alternative activities like reading, like listening to music or doing exercise, or maybe do cooking, or for all that matter, just clean your cupboard, clean your rooms, and so on. So that means there is an alternative thing. The other way is that you put phone breaks, like you allocate short period to take notification, as what I said about keeping free zones. And most importantly, you inform your friends and family, okay, see, this is what has happened to me, I'm going to reduce the mobile, so don't expect me to reply to your messages or your pings that you give to me immediately, so my responses may come late, so that your friends and your family are also in support of you. The other way is the environmental changes. One is you disable notifications altogether. That's one way of doing it. But then keep only notifications for something which are very important, like financial transactions or some alerts that you need. The other very important thing that many people say, psychologists say, is that you keep very the themes that on your phone which are very gray, very black, and it doesn't appeal, because the more colorful and very good themes that you keep, you always feel like checking it, and it gives you a positive reinforcement. So that's one way of not checking the phone. The other thing is put some friction to the accessibility to the phone, put some inhibitory factor that would prevent easy access to the phone. So one is that you keep it away, keep it little distant from you, not always close to you. The other is disable that facial ID and touch ID. Put some passwords which are very long and cumbersome, so that you every time have to put that password, and it takes time for you to reach to the mobile screen, the actual user mobile screen. The other is put a physical barrier, like tie a wristband around the mobile, so that every time you have to remove it to really get the full accessibility to the screen. That's one way of putting a inhibition to, or a barrier to easy accessibility to the phone. The other way is put apps of self control. There are a lot of them available, and you can select one which is very good for you, and then they give you the time of screen and how you should be away and so on. These motivates you in a way to control the mobile usage. Definitely keep the mobile away from the bedroom. Many people say, what will happen if I get a call, very urgent call and all. So what was the time when mobiles were not there? The phone used to ring, you used to come into the living room and take the phone. Same way, if you keep it little away, you really get up out of the bed, and then you will pick up the phone. The most difficult part is that if you keep it on your bedroom very close to us, every time before getting asleep you feel like, "Arey, let me just scroll," and that affects your sleep. So this is how you can try and reduce the mobile obsession.